We're here at the Richard Nixon Library and Museum.
A little out-of-state adventure today. We're rocking it in Southern California, visiting the family and getting ready for our race.
Yeah, well, they're having a special event here at the Richard Nixon Library, so it's kind of nice because there's hardly anybody viewing like the normal public access area.
Yeah.
We just watched a film on Richard Nixon, his political career, and I'm super excited to check out this museum.
Looks pretty cool. Let's go check it out.
So join us.
Lake City adventures, the wild is our guide, living off the grid.
He could be a very kind person, could be insecure.
Suspicious. You could just feel his compassion, in a good sense.
I, Richard Milhouse Nixon, do solemnly swear.
In these difficult years, America has suffered from a fever of words.
Richard Nixon was taking over the presidency of the United States during the greatest social, moral, cultural crisis and division in the country since the Civil War.
For the damage we have done to our air, to our land, and to our water.
He was determined to increase the number of women in senior positions around the government. He created OSHA. He had the first welfare reform legislation.
Southern schools were desegregated under Richard Nixon.
He really feels that Native Americans have been treated very unfairly in this country, and he wants to do something about it.
In an uncanny sense of what the American people were thinking.
And at the end of his first term, the American people had rewarded him with a 49-state landslide.
We came out of the film right to recreations of the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. So this museum starts in the 60s in kind of the chaos of the assassination of JFK, Robert Kennedy, the Cuban Missile Crisis, and works its way towards the 1968 presidential campaign. I would say this applies now more than ever. And we are now heading into the Oval Office.
Reagan was also exercised, but in England from the outside, but this is the true size. If you're going to take pictures, take two. Take a close-up, and then take one about here.
Madam President.
I'm making important decisions, brokering peace deals. This is what I'm doing.
Just in case you were ever wondering what was in Nixon's desk drawer, it's like a pen, glasses, and a coin.
He loved Lincoln. Like, his grandmother gifted him with a portrait of Lincoln with a great poem quote, which maybe I can find, but Lincoln was one of his inspirations.
And this is set up apparently identically to how it was set up during his administration. I wonder, did he have the moon?
Looks like Earth from the moon.
Yeah. Huh. Is this real? Was this actually in his Oval Office?
She says it was.
Because it would have been 68 he became president, right? Didn't we go to the moon in 69?
Oh, during
Kennedy
his...
is the one who said we will go to the moon by the end of this decade.
So it was during his presidency.
Yeah.
So he...
Yeah, that makes sense. So this section of the museum is all dedicated to Vietnam and how Nixon was able to extract the United States from the Vietnamese War, which, I mean, going to this museum, there's a lot of things that happened during Nixon's administration that didn't realize happened during his administration, that's for sure.
Great question. How can we win America's peace? Let us all understand that the question before us is not whether some Americans are for peace, some Americans are against peace. Great question. How can we win America's peace?
This is a handmade American flag made by a prisoner of war in Vietnam, which was then presented to Nixon at the White House. There's a photo of the last American soldier killed in Vietnam. January 23rd, 1973. Yeah, I think this may be the phone that he spoke to the astronauts who were on the phone with. And really the foreign policy achievements of Nixon. I really didn't realize how much of an opening in the communist regimes of China and Russia he was responsible for.
We think it's a very proud moment for this country, and I only wish I were young enough to go on one of those flights myself. I don't think I could check out. Mr. President, I think you would enjoy it very much. It was really a fantastic experience. What we saw, that moon is really something else. We saw more than 3 days around that moon than I've seen my whole life put together. It was really exciting. You saw all that, and then also you were able to let so many others see it because of the television coverage.
What's up, guys? This is a pretty cool exhibit about his trip to China.
President Nixon called it the week that changed the world. Well, if anything, that turned out to be an understatement.
They talked in the film about how now in American politics, if someone does something that's completely kind of world-changing, unexpected, comes out of left field, people refer to it as the Nixon to China moment. This is an actual piece of embroidery. This is all embroidered. I don't know if you can see it through the reflection of the glass, but this was a gift to the United States from the government of the People's Republic of China during his visit. It's kept in here in this temperature and humidity controlled case in the museum. I wondered if the museum was going to cover this, but sure enough, it's all about the recording system installed in the Oval Office. Here it is, huh? The Uher 5000 recording machine.
The problem, however, with pandas is that they don't know how to mate. The only way they learn how is to watch other pandas mate, you see. And so they're keeping them there a little while, your younger ones, to sort of learn, how it's done. Now, if they don't learn it, they get over here, nothing will happen. So, I just thought you should have your best reporter out there to see whether these pandas have learned. So, now that I've given you the story of pandas, let you get back to your more serious questions.
One of his many accomplishments, the desegregation of Southern American schools. Went from 68% to 8% during the Nixon administration. I did not know that. President Nixon was behind the formation of OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Administration, and also had a plan for sweeping health insurance reform, not to replace Medicare, but to make it so that employers were required to provide insurance and subsidies would assist those who couldn't afford the premiums. But unfortunately, his resignation put an end to the plan. Oh, he ended the military draft as well. There's a piece of the Berlin Wall here, torn down in 1989, but it sounds like it's here at the museum as a tribute to his policy of détente, international peace. Speaking of his works on international peace and détente, this is a facsimile of the SALT Treaty, the strategic arms limitation talks between him and Brezhnev from Russia, limiting the proliferation of nuclear weapons.
We think that when someone dear to us dies, we think that when we lose an election, we think that when we suffer a defeat, that all is ended. It's only a beginning, always.
They definitely covered the Watergate situation in great detail. And this is his kind of farewell speech. This is him sitting on Marine One, flying away from the White House for the last time. And then this museum takes you back to the beginning, back to where he was born, which his childhood home is on the grounds of this library in Yorba Linda. I think we're going to see it here in a minute. This apparently is an upstairs sitting room in the White House that Nixon loved to use, sitting in his comfy brown chair over here and writing on his yellow notepads. It's a pretty cool exhibit in here. I'm showing him writing on the walls.
started sending some arms to history. The constitution-wise is devastating.
Just outside of the exhibit, some pretty cool models here. This is the Supreme Court. This is the House of Representatives down here. And the Senate. And then this is the National Mall. So you've got the White House over here, the Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Monument, the Jefferson Memorial over there, and then off in the back is the Capitol and the Supreme Court. That's pretty neat. And this is Nixon's West Coast White House in San Clemente. Oh, we've made it to the outside portion, which has this pretty cool reflecting pool. And if you look, I guess these animals are here because Nixon was big in the Endangered Species Act and the Marine Mammal Protection Act. But if you look just past this reflecting pool, that house way off in the distance there is the house where he was born. That's where he grew up. So the Endangered Species Act, the Marine Mammals Act, he established the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. We're about to learn about what he has done in regards to parks, legacy of parks, and other endangered species stuff. It's about 95 degrees out here today, so it's a little toasty. I'm not sure how long we're going to enjoy the outdoor portion, but it is very nice out here. This is called the First Lady's Garden, which was Pat Nixon. Looks like a lot of roses. This is right up Buffy's alley. You gotta love this portion of the tour. The Pat Nixon Rose Garden. Oh, this is where they're buried, right here. And this appears to be their tombstones right up here. Huh. Pretty unassuming. Pat Nixon there. Richard Nixon here. And this is his boyhood home right here, preserved. Richard Nixon birthplace. His father built it. Born in 1913, spent 9 years here. First Californian to hold the presidency.
Then in 1912, the owner of Yorba Linda, basically, the guy named Bernardo Yorba, decided to sell off parcels of land to wannabe farmers. And then President Nixon's dad, Frank, and his wife, Hannah, decided to buy a plot of 8 acres of land, which is pretty much the land that the library sits on today. Then President Nixon was born actually in that room, on that bed specifically, in 1913. So,
full-size bed.
yeah, so if you look at the furnishing here, 90% of the furniture here is original to the house that President Nixon lived in. The reason is because they were pretty poor, so they kept all the furniture they had. So they lived here. They weren't very successful, so after 10 years, the parents moved back to Whittier, which is where they came from. But they kept the furniture all the way up till when the parents died. Hannah died roughly 1 year before President Nixon became president. At the time, he was already the vice president, so his brother decided to save everything, and then when the library was built, they pulled the furniture back. There's a total of 5 Nixon brothers. Only 4 lived in this house. And you'll see where the kids that slept in. Not that's the parents' bedroom. So we have these are all the brothers when they were around 3 or 4. So we have Richard Richard is second to the left. His older brother is Harold. Unfortunately, Harold died when he was around 20. You got Richard, you got Don afterwards, and then Arthur, who died when he was 7 actually, and then Edward, who was not born until the Nixons left. President Nixon was the only one that's born in this house. Okay, so the reason is because he was supposed to be born in a hospital. Again, at the time, the nearest hospital was in Whittier, but he was born January 9th, 1913. So it happened to be one of the coldest nights in Southern California history. Now you might think, just get in the car and drive 10 miles. What's the big deal? Can't do that because they didn't have cars. There wasn't even paved roads back then. All they had was horses and buggies. So instead, they invited a midwife to come here, and President Nixon was born on that bed. Back then, there's an irrigation canal. So if you like behind the bushes, right now it's a hiking trail. But back then was an irrigation canal. That's how they got their water. So there's no running water at the time, no electricity, no plumbing. So fairly simple house. But of course, they added that later on. Later on, this lot was sold off a couple times, but eventually it became a school. It was actually the Richard.
Elementary school.
Yeah, the Richard Nixon Elementary School. It was open from the 50s to the 80s. He also played the saxophone, the violin, the piano, and then the accordion. He was quite good at the piano. In fact, I don't know if you were inside. You can actually see videos of him playing the piano on the Tonight Show and White House events. He did like the event called the Evenings at the White House on Saturday nights.
Oh yeah.
Where we like prominent musicians.
Well, here we have the White House cabinet room. I feel like you have to be quiet in here.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like Gerald Ford and Teddy.
Teddy Roosevelt. Who's that over there?
I don't know. Oh, there's a slightly taller chair in the center that's for the president.
Of course.
And there's assigned seating at this table.
Closer you are to the president, the bigger of a big deal you were. Probably.
Chandeliers are so pretty. Just cleaning up from an event. Sarah Huckabee was here talking today. Little gift shop action. There is a panda here.
Our last stop of our tour is the president's helicopter, VH-3A Sea King helicopter.
Sea King.
72 feet long, 62 feet diameter of rotors, 11,000 pounds empty. It goes 140 miles an hour and up to 14,500 feet. Wow. So JFK, Lyndon Johnson, Richard Nixon, and Gerald Ford would have traveled on this helicopter. It's pretty massive.
So they are renovating it, or not renovating it, they're preserving it.
Restoring it somehow, yeah. It's probably hard on it to have all the traffic that goes through it.
And look at how the sun is probably the hardest on it. You know?
It's pretty cool. You look tiny compared to it.
Check out this amazing pepper tree, and it has pink peppercorns on it, which is awesome. But even more awesome is the fact that this tree was planted by Richard Nixon's father shortly after they built this house from a kit. And it is huge and it is glorious, and there's the little pink peppercorns. So it is one of a few original trees. The peppercorn plus these two palm trees. See them poking up at the top? Those are original as well. That is what our little tour guide
From
told
1913,
us.
I think he said?
Yep, 1913.
112 years?
Actually, it was what, 1912 it says there, so
okay.
12, 13. Okay, and then over here, this magnolia tree. So the story behind this magnolia tree is it was originally planted at the White House in Washington, D.C. And I forget who planted it.
Andrew Jackson, and you can see it on the back of a $20 bill.
Oh yeah,
The
it's on the
original
back of
like
the 20
Washington
right,
magnolia tree.
right. Okay, and the First Lady, Mrs. Nixon, loved this tree so much that she wanted a sapling from it, and she brought a sapling to their house in San Clemente, California, and it lived there until her passing in 1993.
Something like that, sounds right, yeah.
93, like one of them died in 93, it was her,
Yeah.
and then he died in
Like next
94.
year.
So in 93, they moved the tree here, which actually was planted where this east wing is now built. And when they built the east wing, they moved it again. Well, when they moved it that second time, they thought it was going to die. And apparently it bloomed again in 2007 on Mrs. Nixon's birthday. So isn't that crazy? And it's been thriving ever since 2007.
As we head out, this is the main entrance. Richard Nixon Presidential Library and Museum. There's not too many places that you can have this seal, right? Except for the Hall of Presidents. You can have it there. The Reagan Library has the actual plane you can walk through. Here they have the helicopter, but they do have a model of this plane. Oh yeah, and he called it the Spirit of 76. I saw something in the museum talking about that. He named it that. All right, we're staring into the sun on a 95-degree day. What are your thoughts on the Richard Nixon Presidential Library and Museum?
I really enjoyed it. I love that it highlighted so many of the things I didn't know about President Nixon being responsible for in terms of civil rights and women's rights and amazing
Title IX,
and
ending the draft,
endangered species. I mean, a lot.
Yeah.
So
a lot more accomplishments than I was aware of.
I loved our day here. I'm really glad that we made the time to come here, and thanks to your dad and Jeannie for, giving us the idea.
And it was $16, like the best deal in the world.
For sure. And today they had a special event, so there were hardly any regular museum goers, so we were basically by ourselves.
It was not crowded. And the outdoor area with the gardens, the house, the helicopter. Very cool.
Very cool. Yeah. So we're on to our next adventure here in California.
All right, we'll see you guys in a bit.
It's our town, everybody scream. This town of Halloween. Bum, 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 ba-da, bum, 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 ba-da.
I am the one hiding in your bed. Teeth ground sharp and eyes eating red.
I am the one hiding under your stairs. Fingers like snakes in a spider's eye. This is Halloween, this is Halloween. Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. The wild is our guide, living off the grid where the stars collide. From cabins to Disney, we roam far and near, but this